World War III in the Middle East. Is that going to cause gas prices to spike? And if so, what is going to happen to the value of your classic and collectible car on Bring a Trailer? We're going to talk about that. We have a super special guest tonight. Check it out. He's in the middle there. That's SuperSpeedRob. You got it. We're going to do this. We're going to make some predictions. This is Bid Nerds. By the way, we have a big sponsor in the house too. Wait till you see what else is here in the studio with me. All right, here it is. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. Yes, it is. Welcome, everyone. We are, look and see, I'm going to try to get to the quad screen here. Look at that. All four of us on screen. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live episode of Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnick. We're coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb, in San Francisco. I've also got Anthony Vieira from Our Smiths in the upper right-hand corner. How you doing, Anthony?
Hello, how's everyone?
There it is. And of course, as promised, Rob Ferretti. Super Speed. Rob, how are you doing, Rob?
Rob, welcome. Are you at home in New Jersey? Is that where you're at?
I am. I'm at my house.
Okay, cool. So, Rob, your YouTube channel is amazing, and it looks like you're perilously close to 1 million subscribers. Any big plans when you hit the number? 2 commas.
Oh, I have no idea. That was that's been a long time in the making. My posting frequency is down to like once a month. So I am anticipating getting there, but I'm going to turn up the frequency. I've just got so much other stuff going on that I've been holding off on, which is about to dump onto the channel because lawyers would advise me not to do things, but now I'm my own lawyer, so I'm going to advise myself to just make things public.
Good for you. Well, now that you're a guest on our show, you might get there by the time you get off the air tonight, you know?
He's going to wind up losing subscribers. This isn't going to help him at all. Sorry in advance, Rob. All right, guys. Welcome to the episode. Tonight's big topic, a lot going on in the Middle East. We're not going to get into the politics or any of the why or how or whatever, but there's a greater than zero chance that gas prices are going to be $10 a gallon this week. If that kind of thing happens, what's going to happen to the value of your classic and collectible car? We are going to take a look at some new listings that are going to be closing in just a couple of days, and we're gonna kind of get ahead of it and say, hey, if gas prices go up, what will these cars close at? We always start off every episode by going over the predictions from the last episode. That's right, a YouTube channel that the hosts actually are accountable to what they say.
Whoa,
that's just crazy. I know. I guess that's why we only have like 3,000 subs and Rob has a bajillion because we're idiots. We don't do this right. But all right, let's get to it.
Accountable.
He doesn't want to be accountable. I love it. All right, let's do this. What's the first car on the list, Michael D?
All right, JP, I was thinking about this, and for the handful of years that we've been doing the show, I don't know that we've covered the holy grail of air-cooled Porsches, a 1973 Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7. This particular model is a touring model, and what makes this one even more interesting, JP, is not the fact that somebody ran such a special car on P-Car Market, but they took this car in the early aughts to be restored at the factory. And in so doing, the factory riveted a little plaque onto it to let everybody know who's looking under the hood that the factory is the one that put this car back together. The refresh came from the homeland, from the motherland. So very interesting. And we wondered aloud, JP, if having the factory, cachet as part of the provenance with the restoration, the older restoration, would make a quantifiable difference in the value of the car. And I, for one, I'll jump right in and say I stepped on my own 2 feet, thinking that it would to some degree. So, JP, when we talk to our friends at Classic.com, they tell us that the average selling price of a real Carrera 2.7 RS touring model in the secondary market is about $548,000. JP, I went a whole $100,000 over that number for this car, which looks very good still in the photos, despite an older restoration, almost 20 years now. I thought this car would bring $650,000 despite being on P-Car Market, which, again, occasionally they knock one out of the park and they surprise us. But a car of this stature in the middle of summer, we have to wonder why somebody wouldn't think about taking this car to the live auctions coming up here in August in Monterey. JP, you took the under. Your bid was a little softer than mine at $600,911. And we have Danny from RMC Miami. Danny was in the house. Actually, wasn't in the house. He was in his house in Florida. But Danny joined us as our third nerd guest host. Danny really liked the car and the provenance. Danny went all in. $710,000 was his prediction. So I'm going to start with the celebrity first, and then we'll get to Anthony. Rob, what do you think? Any experience have you in your time? I mean, you might even own one of these things, but have you driven a real 2.7 RS? And then looking at this car quickly, what do you think this one would have hammered for on P-Car Market?
I haven't driven one. It does look like a fun car. My guess, I'm going to be on the lower side. I think the market's pretty soft right now. Nothing to do with gas prices, but I'm going to be in the high 5s, low 6s.
Okay, give me the real number. Just pick a number.
Real number?
Like, Thank you.
603.
603. So you're right there by JP, and that's not a bad guess. Are you guessing on the car or are you guessing on the platform with that number?
I'm guessing on the car. I do see there's a little bit of a value to the Porsche restoration, but I don't know anything about the rest of the history of the car. I don't know the mileage. I don't know, like, it's not like it's rolling out of the factory. If it was a 10,000 mile car, it's a different story. If it's got 230,000 miles and 3 accidents and the restoration, I don't know what the ultimate collectability is.
Fair enough. Anthony, what do you think, buddy?
I'm going to go against P-Car on this car. I think everyone knows that the bids don't matter anymore on P-Car, so I'm going to say 560, and it ends up in the deal tank for 725.
Hey,
725.
Why don't the bids matter on P-Car Market? Expand on that for just a real quick second.
Because every single car on P-Car is going to end up in the chum bucket or their after sale market for what the owner actually wants. So it's kind of like if you hit a home run on the bidding, then they're going to sell the car. If there's no home run on the bidding, the guy's going to ask a crazy number, and P-Car is going to let it sit in their tank and, try to move it on for them. So I just don't think people are bidding on that platform anymore.
Interesting. Yeah, that seems to be the case. A lot of cars do fail to sell, and hence their marketplace is there's still a lot of listings live on there. And Anthony's prediction, although Anthony's prediction is the closest, really. Our car hammered on P-Car Market for just $455,000, where it, of course, failed to sell on 33 bids. The car remains available in the deal tank marketplace at an asking price of just $620,000. So if we take the asking price to our bids, we were all a lot closer. It's a shame that a car of this stature and with this kind of provenance wouldn't bring bigger bids. But in this case, you have to agree with Anthony. Like, the P-Car Market has trained their own audience to wait, to be patient, and they're not doing their sellers a great service by that, because some sellers after the car FTSs don't want to go to the deal tank. So, there's this push-pull with them, and it doesn't make sense. The number that really surprises me is that the ask is only 620. I honestly would have thought that they would have asked, again, closer to what Anthony was predicting, in the 7s. JP, what do you unpack from this result?
I think that this was actually, on the rare occasion, the right platform to try and sell this car at. I don't think this car would have done much better on BAT. This car belongs at Sotheby's, at Monterey, and Car Week or something like that, where it will get closer to what they're asking for it. And if they had tried to sell it on BAT and it failed to sell, then that number that it failed to sell at would have meant something. If it only reached, 580 or something like that, or 600, then people would be like, that's what it's worth. But since it failed to sell on P-Car Market and no one takes P-Car Market seriously anymore, it's really a mulligan. They just kind of threw this car out, said, hey, maybe maybe someone will show up and give us the money and save us all the trouble of having to ship this thing out to Monterey and do all that hullabaloo. But didn't work out, so we'll see this car probably in a couple of months in the nice weather. What do you think of the result there, Rob?
I'm not surprised by it. I was down at Barrett-Jackson 2 months ago, and a lot of stuff got killed. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars below what they're estimating. I'm one of the guys that got killed, and I made that mistake, and I've got a video ready to go that I haven't shot yet, but a video about never running a car without a reserve, because they push that because all they care about is hammering that top number. They don't care if they get $20 million in sales. I don't care if they sold $40 million worth of inventory for $20 million. They're still getting their 20%.
Yeah.
And that's where they make their money. So they don't get money when they don't push the car and they don't move it. And I took like probably a $70,000 haircut on a vehicle there. So,
yeah,
but
I mean, you're
wasn't
not
even the
alone.
worst.
Yeah, flying wheels. Craig over there, he had a really bad problem. Same deal. I think that like about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we've talked about this on past episodes too. There was that big dip in the stock market when everyone was really freaking out about the tariffs thing. We saw 2,000 points and greater on single day losses, for a solid week there. And then everything bounced back like a week after that auction. I feel like everyone was stuck holding the bag on a terrible game of ring. What's that game where you run around in a circle and the hot seat? What?
Duck, goose.
Duck, goose, right?
No.
It's just like who was holding the bag at the time, and it was just everybody that happened to be at a live auction. Because 3 weeks later, we saw all the results on Bring a Trailer start rocketing back. I feel like there's a latency between something goes wrong in the real market, and then the classic car market starts to feel it 2 or 3 weeks later. So with everything going on in the Middle East and Eastern Europe right now, I feel like that stuff is really going to probably hit the normal markets like the stock market and Bitcoin market and all that kind of stuff this week, and then we'll see it really hit the classic cars probably next week, which is great because I'll probably have a car closing next week. Hopefully that's not the case. All right, let's move on. Let's get to the next car, and that's good stuff. All right, what's the next one?
All right, this one's just for Rob. We're going to find out if he's ever driven a toaster. JP, we're going to circle back to our 2008 Tesla Roadster. Our car is on Bring a Trailer out of St. Louis, Missouri, showing just 14,000 miles from new. Again, JP, I think there was an upgrade for these cars, but it didn't say anywhere in the listing that this car has received it. That being said, it's an attractive dark blue metallic. The car looks to be in very good condition, and it is super low miles for what it is. We have seen these cars when the market is strong, starting to trade for real collector dollars. And again, these cars were like $60,000 to $80,000 when they were new. And we've seen them trade regularly in the six figures for $100,000, $120,000, $130,000. This car would be about as collectible as they come. But JP, again, with the news cycle and how much abuse Tesla has been taking publicly throughout the country, we wondered if that would affect the prices of what should be the one collectible Tesla model that's out there. And this is as collectible as they come because I think there's upgrades for it, and it's super low miles. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that in the secondary market, the Tesla Roadster usually trades for $104,000. I thought this car wouldn't break $100,000. I thought it would hammer for $95,000. Again, being one of the best we've seen. You took the under by over 10 grand. Yours, $84,000. And then Danny from RMC Miami joined us as third nerd. His bid split the difference between us. He came in at 90 grand. So Anthony, I'll start with you because I know how much you just love toasters. What do you think this toaster would have brought on BAT just the other day?
I think these are completely dead. I think they were trading. Well, I think they were bringing $100,000 when the sports car market was going electric. I think the times have changed. The sports car market is not going electric, thank God. I think this thing, I think it brings 59,000.
59,000, that'd be a good guess. Rob, where are you at on the Tesla? First of all, have you driven one of these Roadsters? And
I may have driven this one. I don't know. I remember when they first came out, and I was like, I wasn't understanding how there was only like one gear and they just keep stepping on the gas. I'm like, when does it stop? And I remember we're talking 15 years ago. And they brought one to my shop, and I was like, all right, I'll go for a ride. I'm not really interested. And I remember it was like quick, but it's still, that turned me off to electric cars there. I don't remember what color it was. I think it was white, but it could have been blue. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I would say if I'm putting a number on this car, just going off of the fact that the market is at 100,000, I'm at 66.
66. Well, you're both close, but Anthony, again, the soothsayer, our car hammered for $60,500.
Yep.
The surprising part of this result is that it sold for that number on 29 bids. If you had told me when we were reviewing this car just a couple of nights ago that it would have hammered for 60 and sold for that number, I would have said, no effing way. I would think that the owner of this car would have believed in his heart that he's sitting on a $100,000 car. And so it's hard for me to fathom that he had the foresight to either pull the reserve or that the reserve was set so low he was stuck with this number. Like, theoretically, JP, this guy could have had a $64,000 reserve and BAT covered it to make him whole. But I'm shocked that his reserve was under 70, even under 80 grand for about the nicest Roadster we've seen. So that's stunning to me that even in his perception that he went to market knowing that he might only take home 60 grand and he was okay with that. That's crazy. So, man, I feel bad for anybody that's holding a Tesla right now. Crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the case unless we have $10 gas on Wednesday. This car was probably one of the biggest deltas we've seen between what Classic.com thought the car was worth at $104,000 and what it actually hammered for and sold for. But I think if we see gas prices shoot through the roof, if something goes really crazy in the news cycle this week, this could be the biggest flip. This car could be, $40,000 north of what Classic.com said, because we might be in a situation where no one can afford to drive their ICE sports cars. I think that's a real thing that could actually possibly happen. I mean, I used to represent Volkswagen dealerships all across the country back when they had their TDI out. But this was back in 08, 9, and 10 when the cash for clunkers era was happening, and the federal government had all those rebates for hybrid cars and the diesel cars. And you could just watch gas prices. When gas prices were at $4 a gallon, you couldn't sell a diesel or a hybrid, but if it went to $4.10, you couldn't keep them in stock. So as soon as gas gets over a certain threshold, and let's be honest, guys, too, for gas prices right now to be the same as they were in 2010 gas prices were about $5, right? But $5 doesn't get you a foot long anymore. For gas prices to be the same as they were, accounting for inflation right now, gas should be at $10 a gallon. Everything else is super expensive. Why isn't gas? That's a whole other story. What's going on this week could cause that to happen. So I would not count EVs out just yet. And this is coming from someone that doesn't like them. But what do you guys think in the nerd herd out there? By the way, if you are watching the show live, thank you for hanging out with us and watching the show live. Make sure you introduce yourself in the live chat in the area we like to call the nerd herd. You're going to meet all kinds of great people and great friends. Hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. And Dana K out there in the nerd herd reminded us to say, that 73 RS didn't sell on PCAR Market. They should just hire the bid nerds to do it. Because the bid nerds are here to help you with your car for sale. If you want to sell your car on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, PCAR Market, or any of the auction platforms, you can hire the bid nerds. A happy ending for every auction is our motto. All right, let's move on. What is the next car on the list? Michael D.
All right, JP. I selected a 2016 Porsche Cayman GTS with a 6-speed manual, thinking that this is one of the best bargains for under 100 grand as far as a performance driver car. This car was listed on Bring a Trailer and is showing just 10,000 miles from new. So JP, in about 9 years, this car has only done 10,000 miles. 3.4 liter flat six, makes about 330 horsepower, mid-engine, great balance, great brakes, 6-speed manual. These things are super fun, but not everybody wants one. For some people, it's 911 or bust. JP, the car looks nice, decent assets, and not necessarily a common car. So there you go. A nice one, a very nice example to come to market. This would be a little bit of fun. Classic.com tells us that the average selling price for the Cayman GTS is just $64,000. I thought our car with great assets had a chance to do a lot better than that. So I went up to 78 grand. JP, you took the over. Mr. Pessimist, bidding over me, which is a shock. $80,000 is your bid. And Danny from RMC Miami, as I mentioned earlier, one of those guys that for him it's 911, missed me with the Cayman to the Boxster. He was down on this car. 75 grand was his bid. Rob, what do you think of a Cayman GTS? Have you driven one of these? And give us a number for the one you see here.
I have not. I used to have a GT3. I love that car, so I do appreciate the collectability and the strength of the Porsche market. Low miles. I'm going to put this thing right in the wheelhouse of where the average is, because I don't think the market is too strong right now. I'm going to put it at 68 grand.
68 grand. Anthony, where you at on a Cayman GTS with a manual?
It's the driver's choice. I think in this color, it does 65.
65. So the color you think is holding it back?
Yeah. I think if it was red, bright, it's going to bring more. But gray is gray.
Anthony, JP, you're not the pessimist tonight. You're the optimist.
What the hell?
At
What's
80
going
grand.
on?
At 80 grand, and you missed a Yahtzee by $200. Our car hammered for $79,800, where it's sold on 33 bids. So you guys both alluded to it. It is the driver's choice. It is kind of collectible. They didn't make that many GTSs, and to find one in kind of an off color with low miles and a manual, it's bringing the money. That's crazy. Almost 80 grand for this car in the secondary market. JP, anything to unpack from your close call with Glory?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're seeing 997.2s with manuals, just regular S's bringing that kind of money, and GTS is bringing over $100,000. That used to be, rarefied air that was just for GT3s, but now a GTS 997.2 will bring over 100 grand, no problem. I would think that this car, and interestingly about this particular car, it still had like almost a year and a half, almost 2 years on a CPO, an unlimited miles CPO. So as much as I agree that I would rather have a 997.2 GTS over this car, if I'm looking at the same amount of money, even if you could get the GTS for this low amount of money, I might pick the Cayman anyway, just because I know I could drive it for 2 years without having to worry about a bore scoring or any of that kind of nonsense. You don't have to worry about IMSs in .2 997s or these, but bore scoring is still a pretty big issue with a lot of these. But hey, love it. This is a 6-cylinder car. It's not a 4-cylinder car too. So I really thought this car would bring more money, even though I was the one that was right here. So anyways, what do you guys think of the results of this Cayman? Let's move on. What's the next car that we did on the last episode?
All right, JP, one of these that we've seen come to market. It's a 2025 BMW M5 Touring. Pick your side of the fence where you're going to be on. This is one of the most polarizing designs that BMW has made, and that's saying a lot. Chris Bangle, anyone? My God, I bet. What did you say, JP? I bet he's going. You missed me yet?
Yep.
This is crazy. So our car is showing 3,700 miles, and it's listed on Bring a Trailer out of Hackettstown, New Jersey. Wow, JP, what a car. It's an unbelievable performing car, but man, the look is just, what are they doing right now? I don't get it. I'm not a fan of the current design at all, and I love BMWs. This car had an MSRP of $129,775. So my guess is either this guy decided he didn't like the car, or he drove it for a little while and he's thinking he's going to get his money out of it. I think with the 3,700 miles, I don't think he's trying to flip it. I think if a guy's trying to flip it, he's probably not going to get to 1,000 miles to try and get all his money and then some. But here we go, JP. Not a lot of information on these cars from our friends at classic.com, but there was one that sold for 137,000 miles on it that just had delivery miles. JP, I didn't think this car would do as well. My bid, $109,000. John, you took the under at just 75 grand, and Danny at RMC Miami said $11,000, and that was it. He was done. So, Rob, what do you think of the new M5, the new BMW design language with the Bugs Bunny teeth? Any love for the BMWs? And then give us a number on the M5 Touring with 700 horsepower.
Look, I like the older BMWs. This, it looks like there's a hybrid. Am I right on that one?
Sure.
I don't know. It looks like on the
M5's hybrids, really?
It looks like on the driver's side, there's a little electrical plug on the driver's side front fender. And if that's the case, I'm going to put it at like $102,000. Like right there in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
I don't think the world is really embracing the hybrid cars. And you can tell that from the SF90s, the 296s, the Arturas, all of these cars, like people are now trending towards the actual driver's cars, the ones that make noise. Turbo cars are still sort of doing okay, but the hybrid ones are getting rejected. So I'm at 102. I don't think it hammered. I think the guy probably was expecting more. But I say his reserve was probably 120, and it probably went for 102.
Anthony, where you at?
I think it's better looking than the M2, but I don't think it breaks 100. I don't see it. So 95.
95. So our car hammered for $109,000. I got a Yahtzee on that one. It failed to sell at that number on just 21 bids. So I'm going to go back to Rob's point. Whereas, thinking that this car is going to hammer in the low 100s and then FTS because the guy's probably looking for his money back essentially at 120 grand. And that seems to be exactly what happened. So Rob, you get an honorable mention on that one. There you go, JP. That's it.
All right, we're going to get to predictions right after this. Don't go away. We've got Rob Ferretti and Anthony Vieira in the house. We'll be right back. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. Hey, and we're back looking at my watch. It is time for, we're going to make some predictions. This is my A. Vieira watch, and we've got Anthony Vieira in the house. Anthony, you're wearing a special watch tonight. What'd you bring tonight?
I'm split-second Panerai.
Oh, I thought you were. What happened to the Rolex that you brought? Oh, come on, man.
Oh,
you just took it off already? Jeez.
I just took it off.
This place. All right, there's just watches flying all over the place. All right, if you are just joining us, thanks for hanging out. We are going to get to some predictions. What happens if gas prices go up to $10 a gallon? Let's get to it. What's the first car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, we are going to open tonight with the 1997 Porsche 911 Carrera S Coupe that is on Bring a Trailer. JP, this is a very interesting listing. So this is a rest of the world model example. So the VIN has a ZZZ in it. This is not a North American car. Thus, the odometer is still reading in kilometers. Our car, JP, has just 26,000 kilometers from new. Don't rack your head or break your brain. I did the math for you. Actually, BAT did it for me. 16,000 miles on the odometer. So this car is, essentially brand new. The big thing here, JP, outside of the stunning blue turquoise paint and take it or leave it, non-matching and quite contrasting midnight blue leather upholstery is the fact that our beautiful, super rare paint, low kilometer C2S is strapped with a 4-speed Tiptronic transmission, which is just cry me a river. Like, that is just awful. Like, what is going on?
I had to go old school radio style on that one. That's
so the good folks at 1600 Veloci saw it out of the grace of God to go ahead and represent this car anyway with these beautiful studio shots and bring the car to market. But JP, as we take a slightly deeper dive on this very interesting car, and believe me, hey JP, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of blue turquoise paint? Because I don't think I've heard that shade.
I believe that is the shade of Kelly Smith's car, but let's move on from that.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, well, there you go. To me, it looks like, Mexico and Riviera. But there we go. So we take a deep dive on this car, and we find out that this car actually ran at Gooding in March of this year at Amelia Island. And this car it sold for $246,000. So that's going to include the buyer's premium. So a very, very high result, maybe the highest result we've ever seen for a non-turbo automatic 993. That's speculation. I don't know if that's true, but it's got to be damn close. So JP, what do we expect for this car to do at the second bite of the apple so soon after that really high result? I think coming to market, even with a reputable seller on the biggest platform in the world, I just don't see how this guy's going to get his money out of this car. And so I wonder if he runs it and it FTSs, is he bound to burn the car? Because it just, to me, this seems like a no-win situation. This car should be offered privately or it should come back to a live auction. But what he should really do is hang on to it for a year or two and then try to resell it. I just think he's going to cost him to try and resell so soon. So JP, those two blues, man, I'm not feeling that at all. Where are you at on this car with the automatic, and what do you think about, hammering at a live auction for like a skyrocket number and then coming back to market with, here on BAT?
Yeah, not an awesome idea. The seller, look, I know we're kind of down on the live auctions right now. You know, Barrett Jackson, I think most of their cars, they require no reserve. I don't know if Meekum's the case. And like Sotheby's and some of the other higher end auctions, they definitely allow for reserves. But this particular car is the kind of car that some PCA pleated pants boomer sees the color, gets all excited. They're happy about the two tones, the blue on the outside and the blue on the inside. If it had a black interior, it would look incredible, like Kelly Smith's C2. But this particular car with only 2 pedals on BAT, look, we see 3 pedal cars get rewarded big time. Even in a down market, we're seeing 3 pedal cars bring record numbers. This car, I don't see it happening, and I think Rob's right. I think the market is not getting any better, and with $10 gas, I don't think that's going to help this particular car. Although with all of my 993s, I've gotten about high 20s, low 30s on the freeway, so they actually do pretty good for fuel. Rob, what do you think of this car?
I'm not a fan of the car, honestly. The automatic is probably why it's got low miles, because those automatics were not that great. I mean, it's something that people park them, they stare at them, and this one, it's tough to stare at. The outside looks great. The interior doesn't look hot to me, and it also, I don't like the contrasting wheels. I want to drink whatever that guy was drinking that paid $240 for this.
And you know he was drinking a lot. Did he get roofied?
That bartender. Yeah. That's probably why he's selling it real quick.
Yeah.
Grape flavored roofies are my favorite. I've said it on the show before.
Oh my God.
We usually try to get our mistakes behind us as quickly as possible. I think this guy's stuck in this car. If he's smart, he'll take what he can get for it. At Barrett Jackson, I saw a one owner, like 19,000 mile 993 turbo that only went for like 200 grand. So I can't see this car as pulling anything near that. I'm putting this car.
Oh, you don't need a number.
No.
Yeah, we'll give you a chance to get a number. We're just
I just wanted to comment.
Yeah.
At somebody else's garage is where I was going to put it, because it's not coming to mind.
Anthony, what do you think of this thing?
I think if the owner was reasonable, the opportunities here, because Olson Motorsports, they've been manual swapping these cars left and right recently, and they're making a big push letting everyone know they're doing it. So the opportunities there if the car was sold reasonably, but
yeah, you know the cost of doing that swap is going to be cost prohibitive, probably. In a normal situation, yeah, you might be right. All right, let's get to numbers. Deeb, what do you think it'll bring?
All right, buddy. Okay, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a C2S with an automatic is just $106,000. Now, when we go over to Haggerty and use their price guide, if we go to just number 3 good condition on a C2S, they say it's like a $195,000 car, but there's only, in their estimation, a 15% dock for the automatic, making their number on this car about 165. I think that the dock for the automatic is closer to 40%, not 15. That's my opinion. That being said, when I looked on Classic's data, this is not the only C2S automatic with low miles to sell over 200 grand. A black metallic one sold for like $222,000. So my knee-jerk reaction to a really nice C2S with an automatic, JP, is that it's like a rare shade, slick top, super low miles. That it should be a $150,000 car, and yet there are 2 examples of this car selling for well over 200 grand, and that skews my numbers. JP, our car is currently sitting at $136,000, and it still has 2 days to go until the hammer falls. JP, that comes to us by way of just 5 bids. I'm torn between, to me, it should fall flat somewhere between 150 and 180. But because there are 2 results, not just this car being its own comp as an outlier, but there's 2 results over 200 grand. And that's just going to bring my bid up. Despite me not thinking that it makes sense, there are fools out there that will pay that for this car. So I'm going to bring my bid up to 200 grand and say it might sell, because that might be where BAT put the reserve. So 200 grand, but I'm reluctant to go that far. I just feel like I'm being pulled in that direction by recent history. Both those cars sold in the last year. So JP, where are you at? We're at 136. We got 2 days to go, and 2 of them have broke 200 grand. You think this one is going to do it again?
Not this week. I think news is going to be bad. Everyone is spending any time anywhere, whether it's online or on TV, all media is going to be talking about the world ending. And I don't think the world is ending, but I think everyone's going to try to spin it that way. I think that this car and a lot of cars are in for a tough close this week. I'm going to say 193,993 and say it doesn't sell and hand it off to Anthony. What do you think, Anthony?
No, I think there's a fool out there that's going to pay $210 for it.
Good guess.
All right, Rob, it's your turn.
I mean, I think there's plenty of guys there with money still. And the thing is, money doesn't bring skill. So there's guys that can't drive stick, and that's the guy that's going to be itching for a car like this and talk about how collectible it is and not focus on the fact that he can't figure out the third pedal. But I still think the market's soft. I don't think this car should be pulling anything like those two sales. I'm going to say 160.
Wow,
160.
And no
good.
sale.
No sale. Yeah, I mean, and you could be right too. And then also, there's a lot of guys out there that have money. They may know how to drive a 3-pedal car, but they might have a broken hip. So this might be the car for that guy. All right, guys, what do you think this 993 will bring? I think our good friend Kelly Smith, who is hanging out in the Nerd Herd tonight, thanks for joining us, Kelly. He has the prettiest 993, just a 95 993 C2 in this color, but again, with black interior. He also has a 964 in purple that he's not super happy with his seat. So I think, Kelly, you should buy this car and take the purple seats out of it and put them in your 964 and then find some black seats for this car. Boom. Now you have two amazing cars. I just solved all your problems there, Kelly. Hit me up and text me later and I'll tell you how to do it. All right, let's move on. What's the next car on the list? Michael D., what do we got?
All right, JP, Audi made a very special car, and some people are speculating on their collectability. Thus, we have a 2025 Audi RS6 Avant Performance GT, number 367 out of 660 GT models produced, and one of only 85 that were allocated for the United States market. GT-specific equipment includes different bodywork and revised spoilers and rear differential, 3-way adjustable coilover suspension, a special white paint job, and a livery inspired by the IMSA GTO Audi 90 Quattros, which I happen to own an Audi 4000S when I was in my early 20s, and I went up to Sears Point and watched those Audis dominate endurance racing back in the day in the early 90s, which was a ton of fun for me. So even though this livery is sort of atrocious, I kind of dig it. I don't know if I'd want to drive it, but I love looking at it. And I think the car is like super cool. The question is anybody going to spend $250,000 on a quote unquote collectible Audi? Like collectible Audis like decaf espresso. You're like, wait, what? So, JP, our car has just 16 miles. It's down in Calabasas, California. It's on Bring a Trailer. So it's delivery miles. I mean, my God, it doesn't even feel like they finished the PDI with just 16 miles. It's a numbered car, which we haven't really seen Audi do much of. But, you know, there's a little extra everything in this car. You know, special suspension, special bodywork, special paint, blah, 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 blah. 621 horsepower, 627 pound-foot of torque. These things move. JP, you getting off your $250,000 to put one of these away, hermetically seal it, and open it up when Walt Disney comes back?
Tom Hardy's character in Mobland. I think he was driving one of these around. I think they must have sponsored that show or something like that, because everyone, all the cool mobsters are driving these instead of Range Rovers anymore. I thought all Russian mobsters were supposed to be in Range Rovers. But Rob, what do you think about this car?
Well, it's not my style. I don't like the Avants. I don't like the wagons at all. I think that's the guy who's trying to be cool, who wants a sports car but has a family.
Finally,
and has to be
someone
practical.
on this show that doesn't like fanboy all over the damn Avants. You have no idea.
Totally against
what I have to deal with on this thing.
But I also think that if this car was brand new and hot and it's coming from an Audi dealership, I think they would have a much easier time selling it to one of their clients. I don't think they have a client that wants it, and that's why I think it's going here. I don't think it's going to fetch sticker. But I don't see the demand for these. And yes, it's a numbered car. This is not something that anyone's itching to buy and drive. This is something that somebody's going to gamble on, and they're going to park it and hope for the best. but it's also ugly as all hell. So I don't know where that. At least it's not a hybrid. Let's give it the positives and not just tear it down. But
still better than the
my
M5,
style.
right? Anthony, what do you think of this car?
I actually like it. I think fast Audis are pretty cool. I think anytime Audi uses the GT moniker behind one of their fast cars, they're collectible, and I think that this is a car people are going to speculate on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Michael Deeb, what's the Trapper Keeper livery car going to bring?
All right, JP. So, according to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price of an Audi RS6 Avant is just $112,000. But don't rack your brain. I did a little extra homework. There are two results in Classic's data of the GTs. And when I put those two together and divide by two, they came out to $262,000 on average for one of these cars specifically selling in the secondary market already. And these cars are really just hitting the roads in North America. So JP, our car is currently sitting at, let me give you that number, $193,995. And the window sticker on this car, JP, was $201. So I think this car is destined to sort of get up into that range. Now, you're talking about the news cycle. This is being sold by the Audi dealer. I don't know if that helps or hurts it or whatnot, but I still think that, again, the way Anthony is saying, like, it's GT, it's numbered, it's collectible. Audi doesn't do this very often, and there is certainly enough of a few Audi fanboys out there that'll pay big money. John, my bid, $250,000 at Hammer, and it sells. Where are you at on that?
Well, this car gets 15 miles to the gallon. $10 gas is not going to like that. That said, I'm cheating on this when I reached out to our good friends at Audi Henderson. They are that's a dealership that I actually represent, just full disclosure, and great people over there. Whew, let's hear. Zach says that he thinks this thing will probably bring 230. So I'm going to say 230, leaning on him, and hand it off to Anthony. What do you think?
I think this car brings 255.
Wow. All right. You're with Gerd up there. And Gerd is the current Yahtzee leader, even though Deeb got one on just this episode. Rob, your turn. What do you think this Trapper Keeper will bring?
Well, I don't think that I don't think the gas prices are going to affect this thing. I don't think this car will ever see a second tank of gas. So I'm going to put this thing at, and I don't like it. I don't think it's worth it, but I'm going to put it at 235.
235.
Yeah, for the
Okay,
record, my number is that I don't think it's worth it, but that's the number that, yeah.
And to clarify, this car is being sold by Audi of Calabasas. It is not Audi of Henderson's car, so there's no confusion with JP's information. Okay, cool. Well, there you go, JP. We got some big numbers on that. Nerd Herd is, everybody's over 200. The car is at 193. It's going to get there. The question is it's going to go, up into that average at that 260, or is it going to be tempered like you guys are down in the 230 range? So we'll see.
You know what I'm excited about so far in this show? We're almost 3/4 of the way through, and our special guest Rob has a whole lot of liquor behind him, and I haven't seen him pull a bottle down yet. I mean, most of our guests are like, "I need." Okay, there it is. He's got a straw on his scotch. How much liquor are you drinking over there, Anthony? Did you pick up the red car that's in front of you? Can you show that to the camera? Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Show that to the camera. Lift up the rear deck lid.
Oh, no.
Check it out. My buddy. Yeah, just pull it up. It doesn't. You're not going to break it. I don't think you're going to break it. It just pops off.
Oh, crap.
Today. Come on. It's a show. It's an hour show, Anthony.
It's going to break.
So that thing is a flask. It's it holds liquor. I'm just going to explain it to everyone since he doesn't want to break my toy. Again, shout out to my very good friend Dan Dreos, who brought that for me a couple weeks ago. All right, it's full of liquor. If you can get it open, you can start drinking now. I'm just trying to help you out.
I've been drinking all weekend.
He's here in Vegas. All right, what's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, we have a real humdinger. We got a 1987 Honda Prelude Si 4-wheel steering with a 5-speed manual that is currently running no reserve on Bring a Trailer. But wait, there's more. Our car is a true JDM car right down to the right-hand drive. Showing just 81,000 kilometers from new, our car That's essentially 50,000 miles. But this, like, it's a pre-VTEC. It's the four-wheel steering, but it's right-hand drive. So this car, you know, at 50,000 miles, JP, this could be a very expensive car. But the JDM thing, I know there are fanboys out there for that car, but I wonder, as a pre-VTEC, is it still fall into that collectible, like those guys that want the go-fast cars? This is a cool car, but I don't think it's a go-fast car. So I don't think anybody's going to pay collectible money for this one. It is running no reserve, but the assets are, I mean, let's just say it, JP, they're kind of piss poor. They look like cell phones done in the school parking lot on a Saturday. So I'm not feeling this listing. It is kind of a special car, but I don't think they've done enough. So JP, I send it back to you. I dig the interior on this car. It's super clean, but I wouldn't pay top dollar to learn how to drive on the wrong side of the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to love this thing. I saw it and was so excited. Then I saw the right-hand drive. I was like, I guess it's still interesting. We should talk about it. I'm dyslexic. I know it's hard enough to drive a right-hand drive car, shifting, and then add the four-wheel steering. I mean, I would get a DWI every time I drove it. Everyone would be sure I'm, hitting the reefer from one of the dispensaries down the street. Rob, what do you think of the all-wheel drive old school Prelude here?
Four-wheel steering.
Four-wheel steering, not all-wheel drive. My bad.
Yeah.
Well, all the collectability goes out the window with that radio there, because you have a car you're selling as like this collectible car, but it's not special to me. I don't think the 80s really produced anything that it's worth writing home about. The JDM market's really tough. This is more of a commuter car, and I think those bell curves happen real quick. I think a lot of the people have a little bit of a nostalgia, and this is the wrong market to sell that. It's nice to get the car that you grew up driving and a clean example of it, but you're not paying collector money for it. I feel bad for like crapping on somebody's car, because this is somebody's baby, and there's people that think this is the coolest thing. They would never buy it, but it's the coolest thing to them. I'm gonna say I would rather drive pretty much anything else on the planet, even that ugly BMW.
Anything else? He's like, give me that M5. All right, Anthony, what do you think?
I'm gonna crap on it, because these were not cool when I was in high school. 25 years ago. They're ugly and they're slow, and for the guy that's vaping and thinking about bidding on this, good luck, man, because it's still not cool.
These
terrible.
were definitely cool when I was in high school, but not. But yeah, all right, Anthony, what's it going to bring? I'm sorry. Michael Deeb, what's it going to bring? We'll start with it. We'll give you a later shot. Sorry.
All right, JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for this generation of the Prelude Si is just $17,000. John, our car is currently sitting at a whopping $7,000, and it closes tomorrow. It is running no reserve. This car will sell, but that $7,000 only comes by way of 3 bids. I just think when you go right-hand drive with the JDM, the net that you are casting is just so small that it's really narrow appeal. How many people out there are looking for a non-VTEC Honda product with right-hand drive? I'm going to say, well, 3. So, JP, my bid for this car, man, I put 14 grand, and I don't feel good about that. I'm going to go $12,000. Again, we could be wrong, and this car could go for 30, but I have a sneaky suspicion it won't even make the classic average. So $12,000, JP, is my amended bid to you. Where are you at on this one?
Rob said the word. He said nostalgia. People, I'm sorry, these were really, really cool when I was a teenager. This was the car like everybody freaking wanted. I remember, who was the kid that was on the Huxtables, the Cosby? Who was the young guy? And I can't remember the actor's name, but I remember him famously going on the Tonight Show, and he was like he was being paid the most money any child actor had ever been paid in history. And I remember Jay Leno or Johnny Carson or something like that asking him, so did you go out and get a car? Did you get something cool? What did you spend your money on? He's like, I got a Honda Prelude. And everyone's like, oh, wow. And Honda Preludes were just like all the rage at the moment in 1988 or 89 or whatever. But no one is nostalgic for a right-hand drive one. That's the problem. No, I don't want this car. I would way sooner drive. all the guys that want to get a Mark II Volkswagen or a Scirocco or a CRX SI or something like that, just nobody wants this right-hand drive stuff. It's just the only guys that want right-hand drive stuff are like the RX-7 guys. Rob, what do you think? Oh, I need a number. I'm going to give it 11,000. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
11,000 under me. There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, you almost stole my number. I'm at 11,000. We really have to get granular on this, and I'm going to go down to the hundreds. I'm going to say 11,100. That's the number that came into my head. I think between the three guys, that they see something in it, and they'll bid back and forth and try to snipe it from each other. But I don't think it's climbing much higher than where it is now. I think this car is, and even the owner, I think he just wants to get rid of it, which is why it's no reserve. But I don't think anyone's looking at the moon with this one.
Yeah, what do you think, Anthony?
I think someone gets a loan from their mom, buys it for 13.
Okay, all right, that's solid. I mean, that's a solid number. I think somebody in the nerd herd was thinking this thing could cruise up to 20 grand. There might be some people out there this might think could get a rally. All right, what do you guys think in the nerd herd? Let's move on to get the last car before we get out of here. What do we got?
Rob,
this one, Rob's jumping out.
I apologize
on
in
this one.
advance. Yeah, Rob's got to go. Rob's got a bottle of wine to air out. JP selected for us a 1969 Jeep Jeepster Commando Roadster with Jaguar power. Like, oh my God. And it gets worse. Not only does it have a 4.2 liter Jaguar inline six, they strapped it with a 3-speed automatic. Oh my God. What? God help this car. Holy hell. Running no reserve, and it looks like it's ready to do the Bonneville soft flats with those hubcaps. What the hell, JP? Why don't you just pick a thing and get it over with? This thing is absolutely hilarious. And what's funny is that generation of the Jeep Commandos is actually, they're collectible. They typically bring 30 grand or something, but like this car doesn't have a chance in hell. It's sitting at $2,200 and it closes tomorrow, JP. Let me just tell you where this car is located, because that will give you an idea of who's buying it, because nobody is spending $2,500 to ship this to a coast. Our car is listed in Fenton, Missouri, and it's probably on its way to Gary, Indiana. So anyways, JP, there you go. What do you think, man? Tell me more about this. Tell me you had one of these when you were a kid.
I've never had one, but I was talking about the gas prices and cash for clunkers. I remember when cash for clunkers was a thing, and when the dealerships got a car in, they had to destroy it, right? So they get this can of goop, and they were required to start the car, remove the oil cap, and pour this goop into the head. And it would typically take anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds for the engine to stop and seize, and that was it. That engine was toast. The dealership that I worked with, one of the dealerships, the Volkswagen dealerships, Auburn Volkswagen, they had a Jaguar, I want to say, whatever the 6-cylinder was, the engine that this car came out of, a 95 Jaguar 4-door thing. And they poured that goop in the head, and that car ran for 25 minutes. So Jaguars suck. All their electronics suck, but that engine's actually pretty strong. So maybe this isn't so bad. What do you think, Anthony?
No.
Hard pass.
All right, moving on. Rob, what do you think of the Commando?
I mean, this just bumped the Prelude up one on the cars that I'd rather drive. So, but this car exists. It looks unique and interesting. It's some quirky guy out there is like ready to drive. Will not put $1 into it, but will drive it to a car show every Saturday and Sunday, pop out his lawn chair and make up some story about how unique and cool it is. And it's got the shock value. It's nothing I would ever want to drive.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get more attention than the guy with the Lamborghini Hurricane. There's no doubt about that. What's it going to bring, Deeb? Is it going to bring anything?
JP, one quick comment. As roasted out and as Mad Maxed as this car is, the original model that's underneath it, a 2-door, SUV with a, like a convertible top. You've talked about this with other brands, but wouldn't it be cool if Jeep made a car this cool? Not necessarily like a Willys or whatever, a Wrangler, but something, more akin to like this is like Jeep's baby K5 Blazer, if I can go that far. I know it's a lot smaller than that, but I don't know. It just looks like it would be a cool car if it wasn't this terrible. All right, John, our car is currently sitting at $2,211. Talk about granular, Rob. Our car closes tomorrow and is running no reserve. again, our friends at classic.com tell us that the Jeep Commandos, if they're stock looking and mostly original or restored, tend to bring $28,000. JP, my bid for this car is $7,000, and it doesn't go more than, I'm going to say, 1,000 miles out of Fenton, Missouri. Where are you at? You going to go over $7,000?
Yeah, I mean, I picked this car not because of how crazy it looks or whatever, but I just saw it and I saw how low it was. I mean, at $2,000, this could be the least expensive car ever sold on BAT. I don't think it breaks $5,000. I think this thing gets $4,500. And let's road trip it back. Let's road trip it back to Vegas. This is going to be a lot of fun. Rob's coming with me. He's going to meet me in, where's it at? Michigan or something like that?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Fenton, Missouri. Yeah.
Fenton, Missouri. Yeah. Bring that jug of whiskey you got there, and we can drink half of it and pour the other half of it into the gas tank, and we'll make it back to Vegas. All right. So Anthony, what's your number on this thing?
Someone pays $3,500 for the shell.
Yeah, you're driving it back to Idaho. All right.
No.
Rob, what do you think the Commando brings? You gonna ride in this thing Commando when we drive home?
Look, I'm down. This is a YouTuber's dream just because it's so wacky. It makes a thumbnail and you can make a video with it. I'm gonna throw a little curveball here. I think that the what did you say was $2,100 right now?
22, yeah.
22. All right. I think the top two bidders are going to cancel out. I think it's going to go for $1,900 and a pack of Bubblicious.
I think Anthony's going to drive it back to Boise and put a Porsche 6-speed in this thing, and then you're all going to be jealous.
No,
dude. If you buy it, Rob, I will come out and make a film on it, and we'll make the best YouTube video either one of us has ever made. What do you think? I'm in. Everybody get in the comments and tell Rob he needs to buy this so we can make the next Derfos Nation film out of that. All right.
That's it, JP. That's a show.
It. That's all the cars. Rob, thank you so much for hanging out with us. What's the latest thing on your channel? Where can everyone find your content? They probably already know, but remind us anyway because you're the biggest guy ever. There it is.
No worries. So my channel SuperSpeedRob. Easy to find on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Just Rob Ferretti, and I thank everybody for watching, and I thank you guys for having me out here. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Hopefully you'll come back. That's 2 R's and 2 T's, right?
Yeah.
Did I get there? Hot damn! I got it right. Anthony,
Yeah, you did.
You're hanging out in studio.
Yeah.
How fun was that?
It was great. It's always a great time to come down to Vegas, see my good friends. The new store's keeping us super, super, super busy. And, we're getting watches out. We're selling watches. So,
Kick ass. All right,
Good
guys. Well, your lovely wife, Mercedes, is here in the studio. She's like, let's get the hell out of here. I've been in here too damn long. So thank you, Mercedes, for putting up with us. And I've ruined your Mother's Day and your Father's Day. So there it is. We happened to be in Idaho on Mother's Day and totally screwed it all up. It was great.
Thank you, Anthony, for jumping on with us. And Rob, great to meet you. It was wonderful to have you on the show, man. Best of luck with everything you got going on. Yeah,
Rob, we got to get you out to Vegas Auto Fest on September 13th. Let's talk about that offline. We do the biggest car show in Las Vegas. It's like Monterey Car Week in a day out at the Red Rock Country Club. So we'll hit you offline and we'll give you all the super VIP stuff. So, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you. What is it? Wednesday night. Thanks, guys.